we wanted to start with some announcements. Is anybody, we have one person who said that they'd like to make an announcement. Does anybody else want to make an announcement for any reason? All right, well, Colleen, you have the floor. Yes. Last month, for those of you who were here, we didn't have a mic, and we were up there, and it was extremely loud. So we brought this time, and really not necessary, but.
All right. I was a teacher, so I don't really need this, but my name's Colleen Shaughnessy. I'm the Executive Director of Youth Heartline, and it's nice to meet folks in town. And we have a couple of events in April that I wanted to let you guys know about. So we have done it historically, Show Your Blue, which businesses often decorate their businesses with blue or with lights that are blue. Solano's is a very good example. If you need an example, you can look to them. Or individuals just wear blue and take a picture of themselves and submit it to, it'll all be announced and everything else, all the details. But we take over a page called I Love Raton or something like that. It's a Facebook page that's somewhere along those lines. And you'll submit that, and then there'll be a weekly winner, and then there'll be a grand prize winner of a Blackstone grill, or griddle, actually. And that will be announced at the second event, which is the movie Encanto, a kid's movie, for the classic movie night at the Schuler on the 30th of April. And the Show Your Blue will be like the 1st to the 18th of April. So just keep an eye out for that. We'll be on KRTN and the Ratonian and all those things. So you'll see it, I'm sure, but keep an eye out for it.
So I guess while we're just doing announcements quick, I'll just remind everyone, if you're interested in the Film and Media Mixer, Casa Lemos, this Saturday at 6 o'clock, we'll be announcing the promo contest winner, and we'll start forming a production team to try to get it made, and we're going to do it as a community event, so people, you don't have to have experience. If you want to learn and work alongside people who have experience, it'll be a really fun opportunity to work together as a community to make an awesome promo, and maybe, we can get it out there into the world and get people interested in coming to visit here, because there's so many great things going on. All right. Well, thanks everyone for coming tonight. We have a smaller but more intimate group, but it's good because we're going to dig deep into some information that Cynthia's going to provide about mission statements. Okay, this is going to be, mission statements for your business, for your life, and how to kind of align those things together. And then that's going to weave into LinkedIn profiles and the importance of those and how you can kind of use the information from the mission statement to drive that information. And then I'll talk a little bit about websites and how you can also use that information for websites for those of you who don't have websites or need updated websites. So that is what we're doing tonight, and I just really want to thank the Colfax Ale Cellar for putting us up here again, and this time giving us a more private space to hang out in. It's nice in here, and I'm encouraging them to have this open in the summertime so we can sit out here. Yes, thank you. Give them a round of applause. I don't know, Jim, Karen, are you back there? Can you hear us? I don't know. All right, well, thank you to Jim and Karen, and of course, Iris and Crystal, who are serving you guys, who are always so awesome and friendly and helpful. So please order food, drinks, make sure you tip well. We appreciate it. And of course, we want to, thank our presenter, Cynthia Laura Molina from the City of Raton, our Director of Community and Economic Development, and then myself in the role of my Better City role. And then Cynthia Ann, our intern, who's helping to do the recording for posterity. All right, so first we're going to start with a couple questions. How many of you have a mission statement, either for yourself or for your business? Great. Well, it's a good amount. I'm impressed. How many have a LinkedIn profile? Okay, good. Well, you guys are the wrong people here. There's supposed to be no hands up right now. It's great. And how many of you have a website? You were supposed to bring friends with that don't have these things, people.
You guys are gonna enjoy this.
All right. All right, so again, here, this is the presenters, and I'm actually gonna, at this point, hand it right over to Cynthia. So just give us a second here. We're gonna reset our slides.
It's actually great that so many of you already have your mission statements for your own life and for your business. And it's also wonderful if you already have a LinkedIn profile, and delightful if you have a website. So I think what you'll find here is that the structured approach we're talking about makes a little rethinking go on, and it makes it easier. In fact, a lot of people will go, oh man, if I'd had that before, it would have taken me like a couple hours to do this and not days or weeks. And especially with AI, it's really easy to do this. So what we're trying to do here is get more results with less effort. We want a better work-life balance, and we want better business results. And there's no reason for us to be working so hard. So one of the things that one of my mentors explained is, if I have greater alignment between my personal life and my business, between my own life calling and my business, then my mind is just naturally excited about what I'm working on. I once saw a TV show where they had this old guy interviewing a kid, and the kid was like a genius. And the old guy said to the kid, like, why do you do this stuff? And the kid said, because it makes my head tingle. And that's what we're trying to get. Like, if it makes our head tingle, that's really a calling. We get that kind of weird sensation. I know you guys have felt that before. It's like a tingling sensation. So that's what we're really looking for. And if we're out of alignment, it doesn't really matter. All we need to do is like have a 1% movement toward what we think is alignment every day. And if someone's a good math person here, if you can do, hey, if you start at 100% and you do a 1% improvement every day for a year, what level of improvement do you have? And I'm going to guess, I haven't done that math equation, but probably 37x improvement in just a year by doing that, something like that. So someone please run the math and check me on that. So one thing we could call this is rediscover your calling, because you already did your calling. So rediscover it as the CEO of your own life. And then the whole idea of that is, if we don't already have a business, we can start with very little risk with a side hustle, or we can do a formal startup venture, or we can reinvent our business over time. It doesn't have to be overnight. We're just going directionally. So I like to balance a left bracket get her done approach. What can I accomplish today? Some of you have heard this ad nauseum. And then right bracket vision kind of thing, and try to get those work from those ends to the middle. So try to make a little progress every day toward the vision, have successes and failures inform the vision, have the vision inform the action. All right, so basically what we're trying to get is leverage here. So if we try to get alignment between what we're doing in our personal and professional lives and our public personas, if we have a charitable undertaking, if we can focus on that sweet spot, we're going to sleep. What does our mind want to do? It wants to go to the thing that makes our head tingle. And if we're at work, our head's tingling. And if we're with friends, we're talking about it. So we end up almost effortlessly getting 3x the lift just by living, because we're in a zone that we're naturally inclined to, think about and take action on. All right, so this was a mind blower for me some years ago. Many of you have probably already seen this. So if we imagine that all known information in the world is this circle here, we've heard before that we know what we know, and we know a little bit about what we don't know. But there's also this whole category of we think we know something, but we really don't. And how many of us have talked to someone like that before? Yeah, not so much fun. And then I often am that person if I really examine myself. So then there's also the what do you think you don't know that you do. This happens a lot in relationships. I know, you know you should dump the dude or dump the chick, but you don't. So that's that one. And then what you don't even know exists that you don't know you don't know. So the reason, this is really a disclaimer for me, because everything in my life is a hypothesis, including this conversation that we're having right now. So this is my best awareness of how to get maximum results in life, and I can cite my sources. And all of us, when we're developing hypotheses for our lives and hypotheses for our businesses, it's really helpful to just recognize it's just a hypothesis. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that we don't know, that we don't know, right? So we can be chill about it, not freak out. The kids, if today's Gen Zs, if we ask them, hey, can you figure out your life mission? They freak the heck out, right? They're flipping out because they have no idea. And it's scary to them because they think they have to stick with it. You don't have to stick with it. In 5 minutes, you can change your mind based on it's making you throw up and you're in the bathroom. Okay, maybe we should change it or something. Okay, so then what kind of issue is this? In my view, I am going to take the stance that this is of moral, economic, or political issues, one in particular, meaning how important is a life's mission and matching with a business mission? Is it a moral issue, an economic issue, or a political issue primarily? And I bring this up because I had this fantastic mentor. I've had many, but this one fantastic one said everything in life, the first job we have is figure out, is it a moral, political, or economic issue? If it's a moral issue, just do the flippin' right thing, right? Duh. And if it's an economic issue, do the thing that maximizes a return on investment. And if it's a political issue, do the thing that honors the appropriate person. If they're not an appropriate person, it's a moral issue, right? It goes back to that. So basically, I am going to argue that getting this alignment is a moral issue. And the reason is, and that's just my hypothesis, so if you disagree, that's cool. I might learn from you. So the resources we have are time, talent, and treasure. Treasure in its many forms: money, homes, business fronts, whatever it is we have. So we have a limited amount of time here. We have some talent we've been endowed with. And I would argue a moral obligation to try to maximize the contribution we're making while getting joy in our lives and also getting a fair return on our effort. So that's my argument. These guys are pretty smart. Maybe you've heard about them. This dude, I kind of hate his guts, but that's another story. And the reason I hate his guts is he really screwed up the world, and he was largely behind his stupid meme idea. I don't know, we talked about before, that everything's competing ideas or replicators for ideas. So he had this goofy idea that got replicated all over the place. And this goofy idea was that an entity's primary responsibility is making the shareholders rich. Now, I was in this public board training program from Deloitte, and they had the dude from Enron who went to jail, the CFO from Enron. And that dude was still thinking this. So he was in jail for years, and some religious dude comes along and says, why is it you have no remorse? And he's like, I was serving the shareholders. And so he talks to this religious dude, and the religious dude finally says, there are bigger questions of whether you're contributing. So his conclusion was, I introduced too much risk for the shareholders. Out to flippin' lunch, right? So this dude was a better dude, and this dude kind of grew up in Nazi Germany and the era of Stalin, and he said, you know what, if people and organizations and communities don't do the right thing, things go really bad. So the primary organ of society is the organization, and we really should do cool things. So we should create a loyal customer. Now, I knew this dude. He was my teacher and a friend and a mentor. And near the end of his life, he said, you know what? I didn't connect the dots. There's something I missed in what I was saying. And it's recorded. He did a lecture where he was talking about what he missed. So what he missed is you can have a loyal customer if you're on the dark web, and that doesn't mean it's good for society, duh, right? So what we're trying to do is create a customer who is an honorable member of society and not screwing things up. So if you look at, let's say, the opioid manufacturers or the cigarette companies, they're not really producing a great customer. And so that's a helpful hypothesis for what an organization could and should be about. And so that helps us do a little moral introspection when we are trying to come up with our mission statement. I remember mentoring a kid who I fired as a mentee because he kept saying, well, if I don't do it, somebody else is gonna, right? So it was like, dude, that mental model is not going to be constructive. So let's dump that. And let's try to create a more enlightened, empowered, and effective customer. In fact, let's try to make them more and more enlightened over time, which keeps raising the bar on us and our business. And we want to do it with increasing efficiencies, earnings, and external effects because we need traction, and we've got to get more and more money generating to feed the machine to try to create more and more high-functioning customers. So it's just a theory, take it or leave it. Okay, so again, we talked about the Gen Zs and how they flip out if they are asked to try to come up with a hypothesis for their lives because they think they have to stick with it. And no, everything's a hypothesis. So it's a guess based on what we see as facts already, and maybe it's enough grounds for taking a few actions, and we can test its merits, and we can look at the real world results and say, good idea, good hypothesis, bad hypothesis, and move on. Here's the secret. This is like secret sauce right here. If we have a hypothesis, the best thing for us to pay attention to is unexpected successes, unexpected failures, and outlier and incongruities, like let's say the pandemic would be a good example of an outlier and incongruity. And the reason is that's where we learn what is new, like our assumption is no longer true or a new assumption is true. What makes the news? These three things. So when we're running, we have our hypothesis, we're running our business, we're just going to pay attention. We're not looking at the averages and stuff. We're just looking for the outliers because they're going to tell us something's wrong with our hypothesis. And they're going to enable us to refine our hypothesis. Can anyone think of an example where, well, like, let's, go ahead.
Weather would be an outlier.
Yeah, okay.
Major weather events, like
Okay.
a major snowstorm.
Okay, so then if we have a mission statement for our business and where we have some kind of motel or something, and there's going to be a major weather event, suppose. Hypothesis. Yeah, and so we're operating in the left bracket, get her done, and the right bracket, ideal state, and there's a weather front coming in. So there's two possibilities there, probably. Like, one is everyone's getting pulled over on the freeway and needs a place to stay. Or two, they're going to hear about the weather event and not go at all. And so then you got to figure that out. And if that keeps happening, like all of a sudden the weather's weird again and again and again, then you would start figuring out, what are you going to do about that? And maybe you have to adjust your mission. Does that make sense? Okay. So initially, you wouldn't probably adjust your mission on the first day. You would just go blip, outlier, note, blip, next day, note. 3 months later, again, okay, we got a pattern here. Now we got to do something. Does that make sense? Does anyone else have an example? Fire. Like you're going to light a fire? No. You're on fire? No, what? Okay, yeah, there you go. That's a good one. So a fire. A wildfire. Okay, so let's look at California, major fires, right? So now all of a sudden, what happens to the construction industry? They start, boom, and then what happens to our construction people, of whom we have few? They're in California, yeah. So then we have to rethink here, and then the construction bid comes in crazy. Was that the kind of fire you had in mind, or? Like wildfire. Okay, not your heart is on fire? Or, okay, all right. Okay. I'm in line for that one too. Okay. What's that? Yes, we have. And in fact, we are adjusting missions, like for programs, based on the risk of that. That's a real thing, that's right. All right, so this is a template. It's our current hypothesis for a good mission statement. So think about your mission statement that you said you have. And what we're going to do is we're going to identify 3 personas. And it doesn't matter if you're doing a mission statement for you personally or for your enterprise. Either way is fine. Ultimately, if they're very different, we're going to want to bring them together. So pick one. You can decide you're working on one or the other. We have lots of extra forms here. You have a life's purpose rediscovery toolkit. And if you flip to, we'll go over the front part of it, but it's a little more philosophical. But if you flip to the little chart, you can start filling it out as we're talking. So that is on page 2, which is the 3rd page in the packet. See that? Looks like this. Got it? So helpfully, there's spaces for 3 personas, and we'll call them buyer personas. So let's say I'm a religious person and I'm doing my personal mission statement. So my personal mission statement might be, my first persona is God. So I would write in the first one, persona number 1, God. Persona number 2, I love my extended family, so it's my extended family members. And persona number 3 might be all potentially contributing people in the world. And those are my 3 personas. Or if I'm doing a business, I might say innovators as the first persona, and entrepreneurs and executives, 1, 2, and 3. Or if I'm working with people, I might say, hey, Gen Z graduates who think their classmates are scumbags, or social benefit entrepreneurs, or people late in their careers who look at their lives and said, oh my gosh, I sold out, my life sucks, and I want to do something different and have significance and contribution for the last part of my life. So that would be 3 different personas. So the thing about our buyers is they have to be able to buy. Like, it can't be, oh, I work with elementary schools. No, who in the elementary school has the budget, authority, need, and time pressure to buy from you? Who's ready, willing, yes, with the checkbook, who will write the check and send it to you or email you in modern days, which I sometimes forget and reference, like looking things up in the library. Okay, so then what are their circumstances? So their circumstances can be, maybe they work in an elementary school, and then they may have some pain points, needs, and aspirations. Now, I personally find it helpful to think of 3 pain points, 3 needs, and 3 aspirations. And that's because, I don't know about you guys, but when I meet people, I kind of do this woo-woo assessment. Is this a fear-based person? Is this a practical person? Or is this a visionary person? And so fear-based people are going to respond to the pain points, and the practical people are going to respond to needs, and the visionary people are going to respond to vision and aspirations. So we want to get 9 value propositions, right, that cover all 3 of those people. So ideally you have like a Venn diagram, those 3 intersecting circles for your personas, and you're trying to find the pain points, needs, and aspirations that are right at the middle. Anyone want to give an example of, we went through this recently with the school, so at the beginning it was not a school, a training center. So in the beginning, our thought was, it's a training center, so maybe the persona is the student. However, we recognized, what is the student missing? a checkbook and money, right? So we had to kind of back off that and say who has budget authority, need, and time pressure. And we came up with
School administrators, guidance counselors. This school administrators, guidance counselors, like anybody making, programmatic decisions for schools, and yes, and of course, investors.
anyone else have an example? All right. So then we're going to say, how many of you have had people blowing smoke up your butt before in your life ever? It's super annoying, right? So you think they're going to buy 2 hands, I saw over there. So it's super annoying, and so we want to know when someone's really ready, willing, and able to buy, so we need to specify what are those signals, because if we can't get that signaling, we're chewing up resources, and that's a moral issue. All right, so then we're going to say, how are we going to deliver these fixes? So if we're doing the motor pass in, theoretically, then we would, or we're doing Robin Hood Motel, or we're doing whatever, Best Western, Casa Limas. So then we're going to try to say, what is our offering? Now, offerings tend to be products, services, or solutions. Products, services, or solutions. And they tend to go in one of 3 areas. They're either the low price offering, or they're the best product, or they have great customer intimacy. Low price offering, best product, great customer intimacy. So we pick one. Obviously, we need all to some degree, but we pick one that we're doubling down on. Did you ever notice your cell phone carriers kind of fall like that? Low price leader, best product, customer intimacy, customer service, right? So almost any industry. Okay, I might have, that was an unexpected failure, so I may have to adjust my theory there. All right, so then we want to identify how are we helping our customer serve their customer. So weirdly, our first order of business is to help our customer serve their customer. Then our next order of business is figure out how we're serving our customer. Then we're figuring out how to serve us, and then our organizations, and then our communities. And this is truth, justice, and the American way, basically. So if we're not meeting this, we're kind of a scumbag operating on the dark web, and we probably should get an epiphany and change our lives. Okay? So that's the argument. All right, so now we get into this. So we have a small group here, intimate group. Let's take just a few minutes and try to come up with some personas. And we can do this as a team. So do you want to do the motel? Do you want to do, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? Like pick your business, your life or your business?
So my 3 personas. So I quickly jotted down here shootists. Those are our competition shooters who come year after year and compete at the Whittington Center. I've got some guests that have been coming for 20 years, before I even owned the business. Then I've got snowbirds. They come twice a year, fall and spring, every year. And then I've got, and I kind of grouped this last one together, I've got families who come for spring break, and then sometimes in the summer.
Okay, so hold it. She said families, so what's the challenge there? One person holds a pen and has a check or types in payment. Who is that in the family?
Mom.
Usually mom.
Okay, so moms of families.
Okay, there we go.
Do we have anyone else who wants to give it a shot? So what's your dream business?
Oh.
Sky's the limit.
Magic shop.
Am I what?
Are you a Gen Z?
I'm not. I just look 10 years younger than I am. Yeah. Genetics. Stay out of the sun.
All right, so what's your dream business? For real, like your dream.
I guess a multimedia complex. There you go. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, with like a sound stage, you know. Yeah.
Like an XR.
Yeah, and sound stages and a audio recording booth. Multimedia, you know.
Who are your personas?
So I guess you would have artists.
Are they paying you?
They would have to, yeah. Oh, so I guess it would be the record labels or whatever if you're renting out to musicians.
So is it the record label or who is it?
Well, it depends. I suppose your space would be out for rent, so whoever could pay, but it would be if it's an independent band or a record label, either one. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
You have the band leader or the band financier?
I would say the financier. That's the one paying, right?
Someone's mom.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, or the aunt.
Yeah.
And then the record label, who's making that, whose budget is that?
That's
I'm sorry, I'm supposed to be
What?
like. Okay, so let me go back. So we said the CFO? Okay, so the CFO. So we have wealthy artists or their mommies. We have the record label CFO. And who else?
I guess you would have, I would assume advertisers or companies who are trying to buy,
Oh, cool.
trying to make like commercials.
So maybe they have product placement. There's a little iced tea in the picture turned properly. Okay, great. That's great. Okay, so we have that. You guys all get it? Can you actually take the time right now to write down your hypothesis, please, and thank you. It's for your own good. He was saying it's the artist with money or their mommy, it's the CFO, and it's the product placement executive with money to spend to get the product in the picture with the BIC evolution facing, and we will try to get BIC to fund this later. I'm kidding. Okay, so then what attributes do our buyers share? So we can help them on a one-to-many basis. Why do we say that? Why do we even say that? One-to-many. Why would we even bother saying that? Yes, that's exactly right. Okay, so the attribute for yours, one of the attributes was they need to be able to afford you, so they're probably in a certain economic. Okay, maybe. And you're trying to take a Venn diagram and take all three of your personas and see if you can find some attributes that are.
All three of them are looking for budget.
Budget stays in Raton. Or budget stays in northern New Mexico or southern Colorado. Okay, and then what? Give me two other attributes.
Most of these people are looking to do something outdoors, outdoor recreation.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting sick. You should see the signals.
Okay, so the three personas are all looking for budget and quality in a hotel stay. Plus, they're all pretty much interested in outdoor recreation on some level.
Internet users?
Sometimes my older guests are okay. My younger guests are great.
Do you think that might be affecting her ability to scale one-to-many communication? Doesn't mean they're not a good customer, right? But it's something to think, oh, I did it again. Do you think that might affect her ability to scale?
We often encourage our guests to actually call us if they want to make a reservation.
So
That-
they're telephone users.
Yes.
They're telephone users.
That way, we can identify if they're a repeat customer. We give them a slight discount or on their rate, or we might give them some other perk, or just continue to build that personal rapport with them, like Colleen, who is a frequent guest of mine.
All right. So try to put your attributes if you can right now. And then we'll go on to pain points, needs, and aspirations. So I'm guessing pain points might be everything's flippin' sold out, or it's too flippin' expensive, or what's the third pain point? This place has cockroaches. I can't stand it. I need the place that doesn't. Are those pain points?
Yeah, those are pain points. They often look for something that's close to the highway.
That would be needs.
Oh, needs. Okay, needs. Pain point then would be cleanliness. They want somewhere that they feel safe, and that can mean somewhere that is secure. They're not worried about somebody breaking into their car or their room, but also that they're not going to get bed bugs or catch something from the previous guest. So cleanliness.
Got it, unless it's like a wallet
Right.
left behind. Okay, that's just me. Okay.
So I think with your customers, because of the way your hotel is, I think people have, there's like a kitsch, because you guys have this like cool old motel. Some people really love only stay at those old type of motels, and then you have those cute rooms, and sort of it's like fun and old fashioned and kitschy and, you know, all those things. And I think, yeah, and I think some people are really looking for that. So I think that's something that you could really play up in your business, because there's a whole audience just for that.
Thank you.
There's a reason they're not staying at the Best Western, you know?
Which would have its own pain points, needs, and aspirations. So we're not dissing the Best Western. It has its own calling. Okay, so this is foreshadowing right now. So can you imagine the importance of having your pain points, needs, and aspirations to coming up with a succinct marketing blurb? So how important is it to get the top 3 pain points, needs, and aspirations that are leading to them being ready, willing, and able to buy? So all we need is 3 of each, because if we have some humongous sentence, the greatest motel south of the 6.5 miles south of the Colorado that has a convenience store nearby, and also the dollar store, and by the way, City Hall's 5 blocks. No, that's too much, right? So we just want to focus on the value propositions that are meaningful to our buyer. That's foreshadowing.
Well, I'm just brainstorming marketing. I'm brainstorming marketing that you could put these answers and these combinations and little blurbs through social media on a regular rotation with a different picture. And yeah, that's what I do. But that's a way to use it.
And are you a marketer professionally? So it seems that we have some nice. Well, I was trying to send customers your way. We had some people in here with some pain points, needs, and aspirations. Beautiful. All right, so now how do you know someone's not wasting your time?
I would also say that she could find partnerships with other organizations within the community who also target the same customers. So, for instance, the NRA Whittington Center, or other organizations that target shooters, you know, within the region. So we're talking like from the I-25 corridor from Denver, Colorado Springs to Albuquerque, or even Las Cruces.
So she's identifying some other shared attributes. That's fantastic. All right, so now we go on to the next one. So how do we know they're not blowing smoke up your derriere?
The customer? Typically, if they have called or gone online and they've made a reservation, they are 9 times out of 10 going to show up. We also call them to make sure that they're going to show up. That way, you know, because we close the office, or we don't run traditional modern day office hours for the hotel. So we don't want to leave somebody out in the cold who is actually planning on being there, but they're not going to arrive till 10 or 11 when we close at 9. So we call them in advance to get an ETA if they haven't already written down their arrival time. So their arrival time is a good indicator that they definitely plan on being there. Another good indicator is if it's a repeat customer, and our system flags them if they're a repeat customer. I know that they may not be serious when they say, "Let me go check with my partner. I'll be right back," and they drive away.
Okay, so if you've had someone mislead you before and you thought they were going to buy and they didn't, this is the area that's important to use as a filter. And then for you, you would say, how do you solve their challenges? What are the major 3 steps you provide?
We provide
Phone support.
phone support. We provide a website platform for those who like to do it on their own on the website. And we're also listed on the third-party booking engines for people who like the points or like the research capabilities of those types of platforms.
Perfect. And so then we know that SMART results are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. So she might say for her customer's customer, or maybe a different vendor, do they get to the shooting range on time? So you have to figure out what it is, what value you're contributing. So I've got to speed it up because I'm going way too long. So let me speed it up. So we're ultimately going to have a stack of SMART results. You guys all have heard specific, measurable, relevant, the specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, timely. So just make sure you've quantified your results. You can add qualitative results too if you want. You are at liberty to sit if you would like. Every big hand, right? Okay, so ultimately, if you've done a great mission statement, it's gonna say what your business is, who your customers are, and what they value. And then you can reflect on what are your results. Why would you do that? Because you're looking for unexpected successes, unexpected failures, and incongruities, right? And then what's your plan moving forward? So you've set up everything to kind of act. And then you want to always be updating that hypothesis. So is it current? Is it reality-based? Is it cohesive? Do people understand it? Like, do the right people know that you're there with what you offer? And is it continually updated based on experience? So ultimately, if Peter Drucker were alive today, I dare say, he would say the purpose of our side hustle or anything we're doing is to create a social benefit pioneer. So you want to serve good people contributing to the grand scheme of things. And they are making the world a better place, and you're offering products, services, and solutions that ultimately lift all boats, basically. Make sense? So just a hypothesis. If we do this in a month, maybe a word changes or something. All right, so basically, we want our LinkedIn profile to present the same thing, right? So if our LinkedIn profile says, if my LinkedIn profile says, I work at City Hall, that's maybe not doing as much good. It's a great thing. It's an honorable profession. Rick, I said it was honorable. Okay, so it is a great thing. It's an honorable profession. And I would be doing the world a disservice if I didn't describe the whole range of things that I can do, right? Because Rick might not remember what I said in the interview. All right, so this is the same mission statement, right? So who are our buyers, circumstances, challenges? They signal readiness for help in specific ways. I'm delivering fixes in a certain manner, blah, blah, blah. So we already went over that. So if we open LinkedIn, you said almost everyone here has a LinkedIn profile. You don't?
No, I do. I just haven't looked at it in a long time.
Yeah, so if you... Yeah, LinkedIn's extremely useful. LinkedIn is extremely useful. So if you want, you can use the lessons from the last event, core event, and do a ChatGPT, Gemini, GetLiner, or some other AI, and say, what do you really think of LinkedIn? And it'll tell you what it thinks. All right, so here's a home page. If I open it up, I see this gal, who's a rock star, by the way. She just completed 24 years at the astronautics, whatever, she's a brainiac. So I go, okay, I feel a little insecure right now, so I'm just gonna look at my LinkedIn profile. So I click on me, I open the view profile, and that takes me to the next slide, where there's a picture of me, And here I'm using the rule of 3, and I'm describing myself using stacked rule of 3. So advisory board member, interim chief officer, strategic program director. I'm currently in my strategic program director role, correct? At the city, yes. And then trained by Peter F. Drucker, name drop. That's kind of gross. Okay, and then skilled in boosting revenue, efficiencies, and earnings in impact accountable social benefit enterprises. And then I'm also noticing this open to work thing here. So I have a job, and I don't mind if Rick, the city manager, knows that I always have an open to work open, because it makes me tell the truth, because I always have job offers. So if I'm there because I want to be there, not because I have to be there, and therefore I say what I really think and think what I say and all that. All right, but before we get started, how many of you have noticed on your URL a bunch of funky alphanumerics? Did you know you can get rid of those in 3 seconds? So you basically go back to that slide before and, oops, okay, hang on a second, I went the wrong way.
You have to do it on the browser, not the app. It doesn't work on the app.
Well, you don't, then you can just enjoy the food and hear some friends talking, and we're all good. There's no judgment. This is a supportive environment. You do not have to do any of this. This is a hypothesis. I'm hypothesizing that you will do less work and get more results if you do these things. And if you don't, your empirical evidence may show you're right and I'm wrong. So over here in the corner, profile language, public profile, and URL is hidden over there. So we want to go to that, and we're going to click the little pen, and we're going to try to get rid of the little dashes and that and put in my name. There are Cynthia Molinas, but not Cynthia Laura Molinas out there, believe it or not, with the S, and not all of them are good people, so I like to use my middle name. I'm going to get sued on the internet if this is posted. Okay, my brother has a name that a lot of people have, so he put dash media at the end because he's like a foreign affairs correspondent kind of guy, so he put media. All right, so then open to work. This is the hidden secret life of Cynthia Molina. So I get contacted by recruiters on the basis of this. So I have the jobs I would take if I weren't so happy with the city. The locations, all 3. The locations, I need English speaking because all my siblings got language skills, but I didn't. So I have a list of English speaking locations. Remote, if it's remote, don't say Raton, because why would you? Because it's remote. So you can say whatever you want. Start date, casually looking, recruiters only. All right, so then the about section. I'm a big believer in taking your life's mission and your resume and maybe whatever else you want and throwing it into an AI and say, hey, please take these and create an about section for my LinkedIn profile. And it'll do that. And then services that you do, and then if you have featured stuff, you can put that in. And then when you're doing your descriptions, you can use a little asterisk or something to kind of create bullet points. I'm a big believer in use verb noun. And also, if you can, try to open with the point. So I read through this and I went, oh man, some of those I didn't open with the point. Blah, 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 blah. Before I said I increased revenue. Blah, 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 blah. Before I said increased earnings or competitiveness or whatever. So basically, there are, 12 things that if you're, go ahead.
There's just scanning for the words, not the order. So don't worry about it.
Well, when they're trying to find you, they're scanning for the words. If they look at it and print it out and give it to the old CEO, printed, that person wants to see the things that CEOs care about, which are culture, competency, brand equity, revenue, operating efficiencies, earnings growth, risk mitigation, competitiveness, scalability, saleability, speed to favorable liquidity events, and investor metrics. Did I memorize that? Yes. Okay, so then, bam. All right, mic drop. All right, thank you. Okay, so now we're doing education. So I think if you are self-studied, nothing wrong with putting a bunch of the books that you read. If you went to formal school, put the classes you took. If you were in an apprenticeship, put some of that. You basically want to load up on keywords for the purpose you said, right? Yeah. And so there's the formal education, here's the workshops, and then we go into licenses and certifications. So I think I have like, I don't know, 55 of them listed or something. I might have 83, and I thought a bunch of them weren't worth it. My skills, it let me do 50 skills, test scores. Then we go into volunteer roles, publications, recommendations. So I give recommendations, and I don't have to ask for them. All right, and then we get back to, I want to keep up. If Jean Holm just did another crazy, amazing thing that makes me feel like a loser, then I can I can get over myself and write something nice there. And then all right, and then same with Maya, who's a full-on brainiac as well. So post comments, build brand equity for the whole community. So after we're done with all of that, we basically have an understanding of our business, what we offer, who our customers are, why they should think we're awesome, and what they should do next to, like if they're just a prospect, to become a customer. We heard some of that about the motel. So it's good to have a 30-second pitch and a 5-second intro. And on that note, I will turn it over to my esteemed colleague, Ann Tice.
All right, well, can we give another round of applause for this amazing woman? Can you believe how lucky we are to have this brainiac in Raton? And speaking of LinkedIn, so Better City, who I work for my day job, we did a recruitment for the city and found her through our vast economic development LinkedIn network. So can tell you that, I'm not a huge personal social media person, but for business, it's really, really essential because you will connect with people all over the country, and you never know who you're gonna get. And, it's really great that we have someone with such experience that come to our small little town and give us all of this amazing training. So thank you. Also, I don't know if Iris told everybody, but Rick, before he left, got us all of these appetizers. So this is compliments of the city manager. So eat up, don't leave them here. Yes, get that on camera. All right, let me go back to this. So also, Cynthia was kind enough to create this basic web development form here. So I'm not going to take all that much time, but basically everything that I'm going to talk about is really just building off of everything that Cynthia just told you. So you've kind of got all of your information, you've thought about your mission, your customers, all of these things, and now you've got to get it out there. You've got to actually let people know. And so a website is a really great way to do that. A lot of people, you guys might have noticed, do not have websites in this town. Facebook is the way to communicate here. However, I think that's really fine internally, right? Because if we all know it and we're living here, we know we have to go on KRTN, we know we have to go on Facebook. That's how we reach local people and flyers, which is the thing here. So I learned to have to do that too. Like, flyers? What? I have to knock on your door? Yes. However, that doesn't really work for people passing by on I-25, right? Or people who might be in Denver or Albuquerque or Amarillo or wherever thinking, what am I gonna, I'd like to go somewhere. Maybe I wanna do some art direct. I need to find a hotel. I need to find a place to eat. I need a bar, whatever. So how are they gonna find you? It's gonna be impossible. They're not gonna go, maybe they don't use Facebook. Most people who are under 30 don't use Facebook. Very few do. Some people, so you have this very narrow window, right? So you have like really old people that don't use it and really young people that don't use it. So you just got this middle group. So it's important to have a website so that you can reach people, because Google, right? Does everybody know what SEO means here? Yes. So if you need to have words out there on the internet in order for like search engines like Google to find you. So the more words you put out there that are relevant to you, your business, and your customers, the more likely they are to find you. Okay? The whole internet is built on that. So just as a basic introduction, unlocking revenue growth with strategic website content. So this is kind of what we're going to go over. Your website is your digital storefront. First impressions matter. Okay, content drives conversation, clear messaging, increases sales. Learn how to focus on the essentials that are going to turn visitors into customers. So all of the things that Cynthia told you, we need to get that onto your website in a way that's really attractive and easy and clear to understand and gets them to do something. So first we're going to look at storefronts. Okay, so if these are actual storefronts. Which store would you like to go into? the one on the right? Anybody want to go over here? All right. So which website? This is your digital storefront. Which of these would you prefer? Like if you're just going through, which one of these would you like better? The one that has a lot of cluttered images, layers and layers, designs, like you see these little icons and they're not actually formatted correctly, so they're stretched weird, like the eBay symbol looks weird, or this nice clean website that tells you exactly what they do. It gives you some accreditation of like, you know, how customers feel about them, and you have some nice clean visuals, and then you have a little click button that's like apply in 2 minutes, okay? So think about the differences here and like what would you do here? You don't even know. I mean, they do have this booking thing here, so that's good. But that's the only thing I can focus on right there is that. Everything else is just a waste of space, and it makes me feel anxious, and I will click off of it really quickly. Okay, so why website content matters, the power of content in driving revenue. 75% of customers judge a business credibility based on its website, okay? So just like that, I was judging the hell out of those ChesterTourist.com people. I'm like, I'm never going to your store or your whatever it is that you're booking. So I guess it's a hotel. I wouldn't go there. Because can you imagine what the hotel must look like if that's what their website looks like? It's not taken care of. Clear, engaging content improves customer trust and retention. And then again, SEO-friendly content gets people to you and attracts more leads. Statistics, companies with strong website content generate 126% more leads. Now, website platforms, what is the right website for you? So people who uses what in here? What kind of website platform are you guys using? HostGator, okay. Wix. What was that? Selfie? Okay, I haven't heard of that one. What do you use? Okay. Were you gonna? WordPress on GoDaddy. Okay. So these are some different levels and options. I think, you know, if you're not a techie person and you don't have a lot of money, these are some really great options. So we've heard Wix. You know, it's very simple, easy to use. These are low-cost option, drag and drop interfaces with a lot of different templates, right? You don't have to spend a lot of time designing things. But there's limited customization to some degree. Now, I think Squarespace actually has quite a bit of customization. It's probably the strongest of all of these. GoDaddy now also, they're usually domains, but they also have a website plus marketing platform now that, again, if you're just looking for a quick, simple fix, they have really great templates. And then, of course, the mid-price, so you're looking more at the WordPress, the hosted WordPress, Webflow, Shopify, oh, that split up word, sorry. Shopify, Shopify, Etsy. So they're more scalable, SEO-friendly, and e-commerce options, but they do require some tech skills. Like you gotta even you got to understand what you're doing in WordPress a little bit, because there's a lot of modules. You have to understand how to back up websites, because you will, if you just add these modules, you'll hose your website for sure.
And a lot of e-commerce websites.
Sorry, I didn't know.
It gets tricky with e-commerce as well, or in particular, because once you get into one of those and those plugging into the other ones, it gets fun. Just a
Yeah. But, I mean, these are important things to look at if you are selling things. So, I mean, we know, it's really sad that Sandy Solano's not here. Solano's does most, like, they would close down if they had to rely on in-person sales. She does most of her sales online. So Shopify, like, has saved her, and it allows you to operate, and that's the word omni-channel. Do you guys know that? Omni-channel means you sell in person, you can also sell online, you have an online platform, online store. And then, of course, there's the expensive. So if you have a very, very complicated website that you need, you could go with these options. Although there's more and more modules now, like, you know, if you're like a salon and you need scheduling, well, you don't have to have a, you know, coder come in and develop that for you anymore, because there's so many plug and play options available at this point. So always look, if you need something complex, look and see if there's a module that you can use that's already developed, like a template. I'm sure, like with hotels, motels, I mean, yeah, I mean, can you imagine if you had to build your own booking system at this point? Like, that's just silly. There's so many other options out there for doing that.
So we use WordPress with Think reservations, and they were just our booking agent or booking calendar. Now they do our whole do our whole website stuff.
Great. And are you happy with that platform? You've been happy? Okay.
Kind of a new thing, but yeah, so far it's been great.
Okay, great. She likes it. Just saying that in case you can't hear that at home. She likes it. Minimum essentials for a hike. Oh, how did that get screwed? That's so weird. It was definitely not screwed up like that last night. I don't know what happened. So the must-haves, basically. So, you know, again, goes back to what Cynthia was saying, what you do and what you offer, right? We already determined that based on our mission statements, based on our customers. We know what we offer. So we need to make sure that that is very clear, all right, at the top, right? So you think about, you know, again, who is your audience first? Because if your audience is a younger audience, they're probably looking on a smartphone. So you've got very little real estate, like above the folds, so to speak. So this information needs to be up there, very at the top when you first land on a website. And then obviously if you're on a browser, you get a little more real estate, but then, you know, you still have this screen size of a laptop. So basically the same size as, you know, a landscape 8.5 by 10 sheet of paper. So why believe? Trust signals, testimonials, awards, guarantees, things like that. So if you remember back to that initial website that I showed you, it had, you know, like their Yelp reviews, or I don't know if it was Yelp or not, but they had some kind of reviews from some, you know, Google or whatever it was. And then a call to action, direct, visible, buy now, contact us, get a quote, sign up for a newsletter, anything that you can think of. And then here's sort of an example layout, you know, just kind of in the header, having the clear value statement, in the body, the product services, highlights, in the footer, your contact details, social media, you know, proof of, you know, existence, your address, things like that. And again, this is just the same thing, just kind of connected to branding. It's basically the same concept of branding, and it falls off of that promise, performance, positioning yourself in that space. So just a little bit about the calls to actions. Effective CTA formula, action verb plus benefit plus urgency. So these are just some examples of the best CTAs. Learn now, get a free trial, shop now, subscribe, download, whatever it is that you want people to do to get them to the next step. Because you want them to engage and like whatever it is that you want them to go to, so that they then actually buy something from you, or, you know, you're bringing them along the customer trail. So, and again, place your CTA above the fold so people don't have to scroll down. And then the conclusion, just choose the right platform for your business. Ensure a homepage covers those essentials. Again, what you do and offer, why believe, and what your call to action is. And make your call to action clear, compelling, and easy to use. So convert your visitors into potential customers. So, again, just thinking about here's all the web traffic, and you've got this great website with all of this information, all the things that you thought about your business, your customers, and now you're going to be ready to engage those customers, and then you're going to actually do some conversions and actually get your sales, get people to buy things or engage with you in the way that you want to. So how many of you, so if you guys go on your websites right now, actually, this is like a little test for you. How many of you have these 3 things above the fold on your websites? One person. So Youth Heartline has those things? So it's important. I mean, you have to make everything scalable for screens, for smartphones, because otherwise you're losing so many potential young customers. And don't forget about those young customers. They do spend money.
Connie, you mentioned the difference between desktop websites and having websites that are mobile friendly. A good option, I found in my experience, is having a responsive website, which I think is better than having both a desktop and mobile, because when you're doing your website updates, you're only updating one website, and you're not having to keep track of 2 different websites. The website will then respond to the device that it's being viewed on, and so it will minimize or expand so that the information, the content on the page will show appropriately.
Okay, so you don't have to do it separately, though.
Right, and it's so much easier than having to keep to contend with.
Yeah, and sorry I didn't make that clear. And I think, for sure, all of these websites automatically do that. That's just like a thing now that you just have to do. WordPress probably does as well. I don't know if Shopify or Etsy does. Okay, it would make sense. It's just kind of the standard thing to do now because the whole world's on mobile. That's it. If you want to learn more, you can email me and I will help you get a meeting with Cynthia, myself, or any one of our other economic development partners. It's 10 minutes to 8, and you guys have a lot more snacks to eat, so I'm going to let you guys eat your snacks. All right, thank you.